Okay. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Elena, and I'm here to moderate the session. So this session is a collaboration between the Comp Student Council and the CWC-IDEA, or in other words, the Comp Women's Committee, Inclusion, Diversity, Equity, and Accessibility. So we organized this to give information and additional details on how to get involved with comp and medical physics initiatives. So all our speakers have graciously agreed to take out their time for this. We've divided the session into three. We have Jade Fisher and Chloe Giguère, the co-chairs of the Comp Student Council. We have Dr. Sarah Albert and Alana Lopez speaking on shattering glass ceilings. And then we have Odette Rios Ibacache speaking on the CWC IDEA. So before we begin, I'd like to take this time to acknowledge this land on which the University of Toronto, where I am, operates. For thousands of years, it has been the traditional land of the Huron-Wendat, the Seneca, and the Mississaugas of the Credit. And today it's still home to many Indigenous people from across the Turtle Island, and I think it's important that we recognize this. So I encourage everyone to visit whos.land to learn more about the land that you live on. So a quick agenda and housekeeping rules. After this opening remark, we'll have 10-minute presentations each from our speakers. Then we'll leave some time for Q&A. Please hold off on your questions until the Q&A session, or if you'd like, you can put them in the chat and I can read them out. But feel free to raise your hand, turn on your camera, and ask. So afterwards, we'll have the closing remarks. And housekeeping rules, please mute your mic during the talks. And please be aware that this session is recorded and will be posted on YouTube for future reference. All right, so without further ado, I would like to introduce our first speakers. Jade Fisher is a PhD candidate at the University of Victoria. Her research in the Excite lab focuses on very high energy electrons for flash and SFRT. She's the current co-chair of the Comp Student Council and has been a part of the Student Council for 3 years. Chloé Giguère is a PhD candidate at l'Université Laval. Her research involves developing a novel plastic scintillation dosimetry system adapted to ultra-high dose rate or flash radiotherapy. She's also the current co-chair of the Comp Student Council and has been part of the Student Council for 3 years. So let me stop my screen share and feel free to share your screen.
All right, let's do a double check that you can see that.
Yep, all good.
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you for the introduction. You're making our job easy. We're very excited to share with you about the Comp Student Council, the work that we do, and how you can become involved. Thank you for the introduction. I don't think we need to cover this part anymore, but there's Chloe and I, and Chloe will introduce the Student Council.
Is it just me that sees the first slide still? Or oh, okay. No, I see. Sorry, maybe it's my computer that's lagging. But yes, okay. So this is our current team. So we have a vice chair, Gabrielle. We have the communications lead, Kahim. C3 co-leads, Fletcher and Elena. Student Night Out lead, Arash. Our secretary, Sandra. And finally, our research discovery co-leads, Odette and Sharazed. So we are a 10 members council, including me and Jade.
Awesome. Thank you, Chloe. So what is the Comp Student Council and what do we do? What we are technically classified is a subcommittee of the Education Committee, and our goal is to focus on student and trainee interests in medical physics. So we were primarily created to advise the Comp Board through the Education Committee on matters of importance to the student community. These days, we also are heavily involved in organizing social, academic, and professional development events to try to grow the student community to be their best possible selves. So that's everything from trying to help us connect with each other across this massive country to hosting events that help us develop our public speaking skills, that help us learn more about the field of medical physics so we can be well-rounded students. But I think what Chloe and I would probably sum it up as is that our goal as the Comp Student Council is to create a strong student community.
Yes, so now let's go over what we actually do from day to day. So what we organize. So first off, we organize what we call the Student Day at the annual scientific meeting. So each year, this Student Day is full of activities and events that are student focused. So we'll go over each one next. So I'll let Jade talk about the Young Professional Workshop.
Thank you, Chloe. The Young Professionals Workshop is always held at the ASM, and it is generally inspired by the overall theme of the annual Comp ASM. It is a workshop where we bring in a series of experts in the field, Canadian speakers, to discuss topics specifically tailored to students. We feature these speakers to provide invaluable insights and current trends into ongoing innovations. And usually in the past couple years, we've concluded with an interactive session. So in comparison to the rest of the ASM, where typically you will have your speakers present their discussion, and then you might have a few people who get the opportunity to ask questions, we've tried to allow a more like hands-on discussion with the students and the speakers. So for example, last year, we had the entire group of the audience broken up into small groups, and then the speakers would actually rotate between these small groups to allow for a more intimate discussion.
Jade, I think we are still seeing the current student council slide.
Is it just you, or can
I
everyone
think,
else see?
No, I still see
No,
it also.
yeah.
yeah, it's just the
Okay,
current student council slide.
Sorry about that, guys. Okay, now I see the residency fair. Good.
good.
Yes. Okay, so next
Okay.
is residency fair. So for this event, we invite representatives from residency programs across Canada. So it's a great opportunity for students to just network with those representatives and also learn more about Canadian residency programs and opportunities, and also professional certification in Canada. During this event, we also have booths for the COMP Student Council and other subcommittees of COMP, like the COMP presidents and trainees. So this is, again, another great opportunities for students to learn about leadership within the COMP.
You guys can see the next slide.
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay. This is one of my personal favorite events that we run, which is the Science Spoken Succinctly, and it's a 3-minute thesis style competition for students, residents, and postdocs to present their research in a simple and engaging manner, with the challenge of trying to reduce your content that your entire thesis, potentially a PhD, is on, down to only 3 minutes. It's been held for I believe, the past 4 years at the Comp ASM, and recently we've had up to 18 applicants, which was really exciting, all of which were able to present at the ASM. And this does involve cash prizes, which is kind of fun. It's one of our few events where we get to support our students for their competition. And for this, what we're really trying to target is we're trying to focus on building our students' communication skills for the wider public, since although we don't necessarily have a public-facing role as medical physicists, we do serve the public in healthcare, and so we want to work on our communication skills. Um,
Okay, so this is my favorite event. This is the student night out. So this is organized on one of the evening of the annual scientific meeting. It's basically a fun night with students from across Canada. So it's great to network, to unwind after maybe a stressful day at the conference, and just have fun with fellow students. It's great to build connection and make maybe lifelong friendships. So I really encourage you to participate to this event if you're ever at the ASM.
Thanks, Chloe. Okay, another one of our really valuable initiatives from the last few years is the IDEA Travel Award, which is we believe from the Student Council that IDEA is very vital to delivering high quality cancer care, for innovation, for advancing research and academic excellence. And we recognize that equity denied groups face unique barriers. And for this reason, we are seeking to offer a opportunity for equity denied groups to attend the ASM each year. And so this is what the IDEA Student Travel Award is for. It provides financial assistance for those who are from equity denied groups and demonstrate financial need. And so we're very proud that in the last few years, we've been able to give out at least two, and last year we were able to give out three IDEA awards to very impressive and very deserving students.
Great. Thank you, Jade. So now we'll talk about our year-long events, so mostly online events we organize all year. So first we have the Com Career Catalyst or C3 seminar series. So this is a professional development series. We have two types of seminar that we're organized within C3. First, we have technical research talks where we invite experts in a specific field within medical physics to discuss the state of field, their research, and other things. And the other type of talks are more sessions that are focused on giving students resources for professional development, soft skills, or areas outside of the clinic or academia. So in the past, we've had sessions on global development, industry, and entrepreneurship. The main goal of C3 is to provide knowledge to help develop skills for success in graduate school and also accelerate the future in medical physics. The C3 team really gets a lot of creative freedom to choose topics for each year. We try not to have too much repeated topics. Actually, we try not to have any repeated topics except for maybe hot subjects in medical physics. But even then, we try to have at least 1 year in between repeated topics. The exception is the residency application seminar that we do each year, just because it's very popular and very useful for a lot of students. You can go look at past sessions on our YouTube right now. They're all available. And also the next session, I think, is already announced on our social media and on our email. You can go register now. It's a treatment planning workshop session.
Thanks, Chloe. So the next series that we run differs from our C3 sessions in that instead of inviting experts, we invite you, students, to come give talks on your research. And the goal of this is to encourage students in our community to develop their research skills and give kind of a more easygoing opportunity to discuss with your peers about their research. And so it gives the opportunity for the speakers to network, discuss their work, expand collaborations, but it also gives the opportunity for you as students to ask questions to your peers, where maybe if you feel uncomfortable discussing and asking these questions to an expert, it's a lot easier to discuss with your peers. Also, this is an exciting way that you can add to your CV. If you're looking for more talks, you are actually fully invited to call this an invited talk, which is something that you can add to your CV and might be a little bit unique compared to conference talks. How does this actually work and how does the application process run? It's a very simple application process, and I'll actually paste the link in the chat in a moment here. All you have to do is provide us a simple description of your research so we know that the general theme of your research. That way we can group our speakers into themes that make sense. So in the past couple, I believe we've done dose algorithms and innovations in brachytherapy. So we're looking to ideally collect 3 speakers that have similar topics. The application is very short, and if you're concerned about what if the time they give me doesn't work for me, I'm very busy, we all know you're graduate students, don't worry, we will work with you and the other speakers to find a time that works for all of you. All right, Chloe.
Great, amazing. So last but not least, we have the COMP Ambassadors Program. So this is a program we started last year. For this, we selected 15 representatives of all the CAMPET accredited institutions in Canada. And then we hold meetings with those ambassadors to allow them to share their ideas and also voice their concerns that they heard from their student communities. This also helps us promote our student events to the student communities. So this provides us a really great channel to engage with students across Canada. So yeah, it's really designed to unite and strengthen student communities from all around Canada.
I've made a mistake. Okay, there we go. We're good. Just as like an addendum to what Chloe said, this is another great way to get involved in comp if you're looking for something that has slightly lower commitment or something that's maybe more based out of your local institution. This is a great opportunity. And applications for this usually go out in like September.
Yes, thank you, Jade.
Okay, so why join the student council? We came up with 6 reasons that we thought were the best reasons for joining the student council. Firstly, if you are passionate about making an impact on the student community, you want to work on these professional development workshops, you'd like to introduce new initiatives, then we're the place for you if the student community is your passion. This is also a great way to build leadership relatively early in your career and a great way to expand your network beyond your institution. If you're running the C3 sessions, for example, you might get the opportunity to meet the speakers. You're the one emailing them, organizing those sessions, and so it's a great opportunity to expand your network. Also, you develop skills in communication as well as organizational skills for the events that you might be running. One of my favorite reasons for being part of the student council is you get to meet supportive, like-minded individuals. I find one of the best parts about showing up to the ASM every year is that I finally get to meet my student council members face to face, and I think that's very exciting to me. It's awesome to have friends all the way across the country in my field. And lastly, it's super fun. I've really enjoyed my time on the student council, and I'm sure Chloe can say the same.
Oh yes, very, very fun. So now let's talk about the application process. So the application form will be open after the APM Comp ASM. So we don't have a specific date yet, but it's going to be end of July probably. So stay tuned for details on our social media. Generally, we look for about 2 to 5 new members each year. So we're limited to 10 members in total in our council. So we fill out the positions that are free when members leave. If you want to apply, you must be enrolled at a Canadian institution at the graduate level, and also you must be a COM student member during the upcoming academic year. So you can go look at the COMP website to become a student member. Each application will be graded independently by all the current COMP SC members, and then we do an average grade and we rank those to determine which candidate we will admit.
Thanks, Chloe. So what are we looking for in a candidate? On this slide, I've put the 4 questions that have existed on the past, at least I think the past 2 or 3 student council application rounds. And I just wanted to go through what we're looking for and what we want to learn about you from each of these questions. So the first question we just ask, what are your plans after your current position? This is just to get us to help understand you, who you are, what are your goals for the future. You can tell us anything from little goals or big goals. It just helps us to get to know who you are and the type of physicist that you want to be. Why are you interested in joining the COM Student Council? This is definitely an important one. This is a great opportunity to show genuine interest in being part of the COM Student Council. Please avoid the use of ChatGPT if you're applying. We will notice, and it just doesn't come off as genuine. And you've probably heard this advice for residency applications or likewise, that just your own voice is always going to sound more genuine. It's a very underrated category, and I think it can really make you stand out on this application. The next is to describe 2 key experiences or roles that will help you contribute to the COMP Student Council. This helps us understand what skills you might have that can be applied to initiatives that currently exist. This is where you might want to try to demonstrate not just that you've done things, like a list of things that you've done, but actually what skills that you have developed and how they might be useful. But for this, don't worry if you don't have immediately transferable skills. Maybe you've never been on a student council type committee. Maybe you've done work instead in a sporting community. Maybe you are the lead TA at your institution. These are all valuable skills that you can still pull out and figure out how can I apply this to the Comp Student Council. And we do value different perspectives. And so for this reason, don't feel like if you don't have something immediately transferable, that you wouldn't be a great fit for the Student Council. The last one is if you join the Comp Student Council, what initiatives do you have for the team that you are interested in, or which ones currently exist that you are interested in? This is a very key category that it helps us understand that you are familiar with the Comp Student Council initiatives and our mandate. So our mandate being that we are interested in students and trainees, and we tend to primarily focus on graduate students. So it gives us an understanding if you can pitch ideas to us that 1, are different from the initiatives that we already have, and 2, are feasible within our resources. This means that most of our initiatives tend to be virtual. It means that we don't have infinite manpower or funding. And so it's valuable to us if you can pitch initiatives that fall within this realm. But these don't have to be brand new initiatives from scratch. It can also be things that, hey, I have ideas for the C3 session that I think would be really cool and I'd love to implement. It can be things like, I'd love to improve our social media or our outreach. It can be brand new initiatives. It can be ways to make things more accessible. It's completely up to you, but it just helps us understand that you know what our goals are. Another key piece is that we do aim for diversity within the Comp Student Council. This is everything from geographic diversity to language to identity. We want different perspectives on the Comp Student Council, and in your application, if you can try to highlight that, that can be very valuable as you bring a difference in perspective. But this could be anything. This could be your experience as an international student, your experience as a mature student. This could even be that you're focused on imaging instead of radiotherapy. Is there anything I'm missing, Chloe?
think that's it. Maybe that if you're not taken from for 1 year, you can try to apply again and just we keep track of who applied like 2 years in a row, and that just looks good also for your application. Because it shows that you really have motivation to join our council. So don't give up after 1 year if you still want to be part of the council.
Thanks, Chloe.
Okay, so lastly, I'll just say there are other ways to get involved. So uh, it's not just the student council. You can we Jade talked about this a bit before, but you can become a presenter for a research discovery seminar series. There's the link in the chat. You can also scan the QR code that goes to our link tree where you have the application form. So this is a great way to maybe get to learn more about the student council, and also just great for your CV. You can participate in our upcoming Science Spoken Succinctly competition. So this is a bit different this year because we're have a joint meeting with the APM. So you could be chosen to represent Canada at the ASM and also maybe win a great prize. So why not participate? You can also apply to become an ambassador. So the applications for ambassador will be open a bit after the Comp SC application. So stay tuned for that. And finally, you can apply to join the organizing committee of the Canadian Undergraduate Medical Physics Conference, or CUMPC. This will be open in either March or April. Stay tuned for more info on that. But this conference is comp supported, and it's a very valuable experience for future comp SC application. So we really value a candidate that has been part of the organizing committee. It has a higher turnover than the Comp SC, so they take more members each year. And it's also a really great option for people interested in undergraduate outreach. So if you're interested in that, you really should apply to be part of the CUMPC. And with that, I'll let Jade conclude our presentation.
Thank you everyone for listening, and our emails are on the screen and we'll also put them in the chat if you have suggestions for the Comp Student Council, if you have questions about how to get involved or the application process in the future. We're there to answer questions and we're happy to help. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Awesome. Thanks, Jade and Chloe, for such a thorough presentation. So we'll hold off on questions for now, and I will introduce our next speakers. So Dr. Sarah Albert is a medical physicist at Princess Margaret Cancer Center. She completed her PhD at Toronto Metropolitan University and her residency at Princess Margaret. She has served on the CWC for 4 years and was the person who created and co-leads the Interactions article series, Shattering Glass Ceilings, Celebrating Remarkable Physicists. Alana Lopez is a PhD candidate at the University of Western Ontario. Her research is on eye tracking and machine learning applications in digital pathology. She has served on a CWC-IDEA for 2.5 years and is currently the co-lead for the Shattering Glass series. All right, the floor is yours. If you can share your screen.
Yep, for sure. Should be able to see the screen now.
Yep.
Awesome. Okay. I feel like we should have gone before student council because they have like an amazing, like a whole list of incredible initiatives, but we're just going to talk about our short one. But I think that was really great. Chloe and Jade, you guys are doing a lot of awesome stuff. So Alana and I are going to talk about something called the Shattering Glass Ceilings article series. So for those of you who haven't heard of this, what this is, it's a series of interviews that we write up that are usually featured in the quarterly comp newsletter. It's called Interactions. So if you've ever seen those emails from comp that come in every few months, they have this newsletter attached to it. That's where these are published. And the article series essentially spotlights and celebrates accomplishments by individuals who have faced invisible barriers while working in the medical physics field in Canada. So this could be someone who went to graduate school or did their residency training in Canada and now works at like an American institution. It could be someone who's done all of their training and now works in Canada. And it could be someone who did training in the States and now works here as a medical physicist. And it was created essentially to ensure that we're recognizing and shining a spotlight on the work that's done by the leaders, specifically in the Canadian medical physics community. So how this came about is APM does something very similar to this. They interview like a female leader in the field in their newsletter. And I sat in on one of their meetings and learned that sometimes when they interview that person who is much senior to me and I really look up to, they don't feel like much of a leader. But we look up to these people. So say, you know, like our graduate student supervisors or our residency mentors, and we look at what they're doing and think, wow, I want to do that one day. And they don't necessarily always feel like, you know, they are a leader or they've made an impact. And so this was created to kind of shine a light on that so that people can read through these articles and find someone who, you know, has a story that inspires them or a story that's similar to theirs or someone they want to reach out to. So what this looks like I mentioned, we publish these in the Comp Interactions newsletter, and this comes out 4 times a year. So it's published in January, April, July, and October, with the deadline for our article being due 1 month before the article comes out. And so our team works to try to interview at least 2, if not 3 individuals for every one of these. So every year we try to interview at least 8 people. And our team started as part of the CWC committee, which is going to be talked about a little bit later. So we would ask for volunteers from our committee for anyone who is interested in performing one of these interviews or helping to write the article. And we've now kind of spun off into our own group. So we're a group of about 10 individuals, and we meet at the start of the quarter to talk about who we want to interview and who is going to do those interviews. And then we'd only do the one over Teams meeting every quarter. And then we work remotely just via email. So why join us? So similar to kind of what Jade mentioned about reasons to get involved in some of these seminars, this is a really good opportunity to be able to interview leaders in the medical physics field. So let's say you're thinking about applying to residency in coming years, and there's someone that works at an institution that you really look up to or you really want to introduce yourself to. It's a great opportunity if you sign up to interview that person to reach out to them and introduce yourself. You can explain what you're doing, and it's a really good way to kind of make that connection and get to know them. It's also a really good way to improve your communication and your writing skills. So sometimes people who volunteer to do these articles will do the actual interview. Sometimes we have people who volunteer who just want to edit the articles and the interviews. So it's a big range of working on communication and writing. And then you also get to work with a team from across the country kind of to push this common goal forward. So we really want to aim on like spotlighting these people who have fought through or are dealing with barriers on their career path or who have dealt with barriers. And our team is very passionate about spotlighting these individuals. So it's nice to all work towards a common goal.
Yeah, thanks, Sarah. I definitely echo that. It's very nice being a part of this team that we're all like the student council, we're all like-minded individuals working towards this common goal. So it's quite nice. So Sarah touched on this a little bit, but what can you expect if you are joining our team? So for each issue, you can participate in one or more of the following 2 main roles. So you have really the interviewer. So this is you being more engaged with the individual that you're going to be interviewing for that issue. So we usually do about a 30-minute virtual interview over Teams or Zoom. And then in the interview, we ask about 6 to 8 questions. It's not a hard limit or cutoff. Some are standardized to get the conversation going, but then we also like to try to personalize the interview questions questions to the interviewee to make the interview a little bit more personal and to get to know the interviewee, specific to whether they hold a specific role or they have a specific hobby that would help contextualize who they are. And so as the interviewer, you're also engaging a lot with the interviewee before before the interview to help schedule the interview, but also after to iterate with the interviewee about their responses and make sure that everything that actually gets into the interactions article, everybody is on board with, including the interviewee. So this is the more personable role or the upfront role. If you prefer to do something a little bit more behind the scenes, then you can also be the editor. So all of the interview questions and answers are transcribed during the interview process. And then the process after that is to edit and polish the transcribed responses to make them smooth and flow into the interactions article, and then also to format the responses to fit the interactions article as well. And if you are part of this team, you can participate in one or both of these roles. You can shadow an interview if you don't want to lead the interview, or you can shadow an editing process. We're pretty flexible on these roles and who wants to do what. And pretty important part is participation is on an issue by issue basis. So if you are curious about how these interviews are done or how the editing process is done, but you're a little bit afraid to make a full commitment, you can just join us for one issue and see how it works. And if you like it, you can stay for more than one issue. If not, then you don't have to, there's no long-term commitment with each of these issues. So I figured we can highlight some of the awesome work that we've done throughout these issues thus far. So I figured no best way to do that than just highlight all the fantastic individuals in our field that we've had the privilege to interview thus far. And we've been really fortunate to have such a wide diversity of individuals and fantastic leaders in our field, from heads of departments to different types of graduate students, to new career physicists, to vital members of our comp board, and all the ranges in between. So snapshot of their faces. If you're interested in their interviews and you don't know where they are, it's all posted on the History of the Interactions article series, and you'll see each of the quarters that are pasted there. And you can find each of these interviews are transcribed there for reference. But so these are the standard types of interviews that we do for shattering glass ceilings, but we also do some non-standard interviews, such as virtual interviews. So we've done 2 virtual interviews where we actually interview the interviewees in a live setting, and we record the interviews, and the interviews are posted on YouTube. So we have 2 of these done in the year of 2024, and snapshotted a couple of screens from the interview itself, but the link and the QR code for each one is there if you would like to see it. They're about 15-minute videos, not very long, and to share some fantastic insight about the stories of each of these interviewees, but also, especially with this first one in May 2024, we also have our interviewees ask each other questions, which was a really unique aspect that we don't get to do when the interviews are just transcribed and into the interactions article. So if you want to take a screenshot of this slide, please feel free, but fantastic interviews to see. Other types of special interviews or formats that we've done through Glass Ceilings is we've done another version of a live interview. So this was at one of our annual scientific meetings in Comp, where we had a whole panel of interviewees, and we actually asked them questions live, and we had them answer live in front of the conference setting. So this was another really cool and engaging way to interact with these trailblazers in our field. So how to get involved? It's pretty simple. So we are always welcoming new members anytime and throughout the year. There's no specific application period and no formal application. If you're interested in just trying one article series to test the waters, or if you're looking for a longer commitment, we're open to both. Or even if you just want information and not sure if you want to join, please feel free to reach out to Sarah and myself. Our names and emails are here. I can put our emails in the chat afterwards, but yeah, happy to answer any questions afterwards.
Yeah, and I'll just add one final point. If you're not interested in joining to do interviews, but you have someone that you really look up to that you would like to see interviewed, you can always send Alana or myself an email and suggest that person to be interviewed in the future.
Yeah, that's a fantastic point. Thanks, Sarah.
Awesome. Thanks, Sarah and Alana. It's genuinely such a cool initiative. Okay, and with that, I will introduce our third speaker. Odette Rios Ibacache is a PhD candidate at McGill University. Her research involves studying radiotherapy outcomes prediction in glioma patients using LLM, ML, and radiomics. She has served on both the Comp Student Council and CWC IDEA for 4 months. So, Odette, feel free to share your screen.
Okay. Thank you so much for the introduction. So I'm a bit with a cold, so probably I will talk as slow as possible, as I can, as louder as possible. So yeah, I've been like 6 months within the Common Student Council and the Governance Committee, Inclusion, Diversity, Equity, and Accessibility IDEA, and currently I'm like the liaison between the students and the members of the committee. So what is exactly the CWC-IDEA? Well, it's a committee that aims to identify and address and monitor issues facing by women and other equity-deserving individuals working in or studying medical physics in Canada. And they want to continuously transform the profession and come into one in which inclusivity, diversity, equity, and accessibility IDEA are integrated to engage the full potential of all the members within COM. We define several responsibilities and duties. So we want to address and educate on issues dealing with IDEA initiatives with the medical physics community and profession. We would like to encourage, promote, and increase visibility of women and marginalized medical physics in Canada as role models and leaders. And also, we would like to help COM to develop professional trainees, activities, workshops, and tools that will address and that we identify by the CWC IDEA and that align with the Common Strategic Plan in inclusion initiatives. To see all the full responsibilities and duties, you can also go to the COM website and you can go to committees and professional affairs, and you can go to the CWC IDEA website or tab, and you can see all the lists that we want to achieve and all our duties that we have. So we have over 36 members currently within the committee. Here are some our stars members. So we have Patricia Baxter, who is the co-chair. We have Sarah Albert. We have Alana Lopez, who already presented in the seminar. We have also Gita Menon, Radin Barta, and Malcolm McEwan. So we are, as I said, we are more than 36 members. And we define our work around 3 overarching pillars. So we aim for gender equity, anti-racism, and accessibility. So our goals every year align with these 3 pillars that we want to achieve. As a part of initiatives, so we have done the Climate IDI survey, which led to a set of IDEA recommendations for COMP. And also we have planned the another student ASM IDEA sessions, such as the ones that Sarah Overt and Alana Lopez presented. The studying glass ceilings, and also the last year was indigenous patients' experiences. And also we have a lot of HENA resources like Better Together, Embracing Sexual Orientation and Gender Diversity and Radiation Oncology, Radiation Therapy, Medical Physics, and Allied Health, and others such as Workplace Engagement, Wellbeing, and Mental Health. And also we also very supportive with awards or funds for IDEA and inclusion in research, such as for COM, the annual scientific meeting, and also for the undergraduate medical physics conference. Again, you can see all of our HENA resources in the COM website under the CWC IDEA tab. Here's an example of the recommendations that the committee have worked for COMP. So here I highlighted some of them with the 8. You can find all these recommendations again within the COM website. So here I highlight, for example, incorporate inclusion, diversity, equity, and accessibility in COM best practices. Define the Canadian medical physics role in student reconciliations with Indigenous communities, and also cultivate accessibility, wellness, and mental health with the medical physics. So we are working towards all of these recommendations within the committee, working on different activities and different workshops that we plan over the year. So for example, some of the ongoing initiatives are the interaction articles, like the glass ceilings. We are now also working towards the COM APM events, where we have the women's luncheon. We have continuous education sessions, and also we also preparing to connect with local Indigenous communities, such as we did the last scientific meeting. And also we are constantly supporting the Common Student Council for IDEA student resources and initiatives that they have. And also we are working towards a forum sessions that are called Ideas at Home. We will be talking about burnouts, activities, or dissociation in medical physics, and all different topics where we can be able to talk without being ashamed about all these difficulty topics. And this will be announced in social media so everyone can join. And we have bi-weekly meetings. So we say that inclusiveness will guide all discussions. So we usually have remote meetings where we all discuss about different situations. Also, we plan our schedule for our activities for along the year. We also sometimes we talk about different situations like national or international situations. So it's a very engaging group where you can talk really about activities and ideas, topics. So how you can join our community? So it's very easy. You only need to show your motivation and interest. So you need to go to the COM website and you can see directly get involved, and you will see a Google form that you can basically need to fill, and where you need to say why you're interested in joining the community and all your information. And to do this, you need to be a current COMP member. So you need to be a full associate or student member to join. And that's all. So we have here the contact information. I have here the email from Patricia Baxter, who is the co-chair. We also have the Gmail account. You can see it here. Well, it's also my email here if you have other questions. As a part of the Common Student Council and as a liaison of the CWC-IDEA. And also I have the co-chair here also, Megan Koo, who is also part of the committee.
Awesome. Thanks, Odette. Super interesting to hear about this. Okay, so now we will open the floor to questions. Feel free to put them in the chat, or if you want to turn on your camera and ask, you're welcome to as well. So I can start us off in the meantime with a question to Odette, actually. Are there any specific qualifications or traits your people are looking for to be a new member of the CWC-IDEA?
Not really. We only look for motivation and commitment. So if you're really interested, just you need to apply. It just we look for people, I guess, that are very committed with an idea, and who would like to participate in the development of all the activities that we want to achieve during the year. I mentioned some of them. Even the glass ceilings articles, as Sarah said, and Alana are part of the CWC-IDEA. So, so we are looking for motivated people, like who would like to be engaged and to promote and to, because Mostly overall sessions and meetings are like how to get idea be part of the topic within comp. Uh, how to, um, how to get that inclusion for all the students and for all the faculty members. Um, so if you have any idea and you want to like, oh, we should be doing this to have more inclusion within the medical physics community, you can approach and you can present it. So we are very open and we have full discussions about how to deal with it. So yep.
Thank you. Oh, Tina, I see you have your hand raised.
Yes, yes. Thank you so much for the talk, and that was very informative. I have a question to Sarah, and I'm wondering how you find the right balance between the clinical responsibilities and this leadership initiative, given this intensive residency, for example, during the residency.
Sorry, can you say the first part of it one more time?
Yeah, just wondering how you found the right balance between the clinical responsibilities given the intensive rotations or clinical rotation that happened during residency and all those things, and how much time you spent, for example, for these activities.
Yeah, so that's actually a really good question. So I found that like something like ceilings, for example, was what I gravitated towards while doing residency. And that's kind of how it came about, was I liked the idea that, I mean, so before I was a resident, like as a graduate student, I was very involved in things like student council. I wasn't on comp student council, but I was on APM student council. Because I think that those types of initiatives are really fantastic because there's so many different areas you can be involved in. And they were great as a graduate student because you do have a little bit more time. But when you go into residency, I do find that it does get busy very quickly. And so one of the reasons that ceilings kind of evolved the way it did and has that like you can join for one issue is that it allows, I think, at least for me, it allowed for that flexibility of being involved still when I had extra time, but being able to pull back when I didn't. And then you don't feel like again, at least for me, you don't feel like you've committed to something that you can no longer like live up to that level of expectation. I know that I have a really hard time with if I'm going to do something and I'm passionate about it, I really want to dedicate my time to it and do it properly, and give it the energy that it deserves. And so what's really nice about the way we've set up doing these is, if say you have a really heavy rotation right now, you're doing something, it's very difficult for you, you can kind of step back. So I, for example, don't always participate in our ceilings issues. Even now as a new staff, it was really busy in September, and that's why having like a co-lead is so fantastic. And so Alana really took over for the last, I want to say, 6 to 8 months of running everything and keeping everything on track. So I think that the finding the balance there is just about like what works for you and when, and then also being flexible with yourself about it. So accepting that sometimes you might be really busy, and that's okay to step back from those initiatives. And sometimes you may not be. So even if you're joining something like the student council, maybe picking something like if you know you're going to be really, really busy when they ramp up towards the annual meeting, that's probably not a great fit, but maybe you can participate in one of the online seminar series or something that happens at a part time of the year when maybe you're just going to be working like on your manuscript. Or I think that's kind of the way to approach balancing the two.
Yeah, that makes sense. Thank you.
Yeah, I can just add something to that. Something that's really nice about the format and the structure of glass ceilings is a lot of it is asynchronous work. So that's why we have the two types of roles of interviewer versus editor. So if you're really worried about your schedule and being able to commit to a certain hour or certain time point in a day to coordinate schedules, as Sarah said in the presentation, most of our communication is actually over email. So if you need to respond at a weird hour of the day or night, that's totally okay. And then if you want to be involved, if this is something that you're passionate in, but you're worried about being able to actually contribute, and like if you're worried about holding up schedules because you have a very busy schedule, you can do you can be a part of an editing session and just help us because the editing part is not small at all. It takes quite a while to take natural speech with all the natural ums and or people say things in out of order, so then you got to reorder it for the actual article. So it actually takes quite a lot of work. So that's actually very helpful. And then you also get you get an insight of what glass ceilings is from that, and if that's something that you want to participate in, and maybe your next rotation is a little lighter, then maybe you can do an interview. But it's totally up to you.
And you also get to put your name on it. So if you ever look at a glass ceilings article, all the authors' names are on it. So even if you just edited it, your name goes on it. You helped contribute to it. You were part of that piece. So if you're looking for something again to kind of make your residency application or your job application really stand out, that's also a good way to kind of be like, hey, I wrote this article or I helped with this article. I'm an author on it. And I will also kind of plug CWC as a similar idea. If you are someone who, has a lot of time or doesn't have a lot of time, but you have this really great idea, you just don't have the time to get it off the ground, that is a really good avenue to bring that to. That is exactly what we did with ceilings. I like had this idea and then a group of a whole bunch of people who are really passionate about it made it happen, and then now it's grown on its own, which is fantastic to see. So if you have like, something you want to implement, but you don't have the time to fully implement it by yourself, the CWC group is a really good place to bring that idea.
Yeah. And I think it's similar just for CWC glass ceilings, but maybe also from what I've heard from the Comp Student Council is it's the beauty of having like-minded people. So even if you have like big dreams or big ambitions, but you don't have the time yourself, you share that goal with everybody else, and it's like everybody's lifting towards this one goal. So it's a really nice community and really nice feeling.
Yeah, I may add, like as you said, Alana and Sarah, like within the Common Student Council, we also have an idea subcommittee where One is involved and also Elena is involved. And we discuss about many initiatives, and we, as liaison, need to present them to the CWC-IDEA, and they are very supportive with everything that we want to do with the Common Student Council. So yeah, and also they guide us through all the process. For example, with Elena and with Kahim, we want to work into student resources, and they guide us like how to present it to the com board, for example, how to do it in social media, how to be engaged. So it's a good opportunity if you have good ideas. They really support you.
Thank you.
Well, thanks, guys. Sorry, did someone say something? Oh, okay. Do we have any other questions from the audience?
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
I'm just curious about Comp Student Council, what the term limit is if you join the Student Council.
I believe at the moment we don't officially have a term limit. However, I would say that it's very rare for someone to stay for more than 3 years. And so even though it's not official, I'd say it's a really common to see 3 years. We also are only limited to students, which means that unlike, let's say, the STSC, which I know you're more familiar with, just the natural term limit ends up being a little bit shorter. Additionally, because I would say it's also very rare for first year students to be part of the Comp Student Council. Not completely out of the question, we do see first year students, but just since they tend to be in courses and tend to be very busy, we tend to see less applications from them. And so if you have, let's say, a 5-year PhD, that gives you about 4 years probably that you would be likely to be part of the student council. But then how long people stick around, maybe 3, but officially I believe there's no term limit. Chloe?
Yeah, there's no term limit, I think. Yeah.
So
Usually, I think when
if
people,
someone
sorry.
joins, sorry, so if someone joins, did you decide at the end of the year if you
Hi,
stay?
Seth.
Is that,
Yeah.
oh, cool.
How are you?
Yeah, it's like if someone wants to stick around, then it's up to them. And then depending on how many members are rolling off, that's how many members we're selecting for the following year. And I would say it's worked out to be a pretty reasonable number of members rolling off, where we still maintain continuity of our more senior members who can share understanding of the initiatives, but we also get a reasonable number of like new members each year to bring in new ideas and new perspectives.
Do we have any further questions? Okay. If we have no further questions, I would like to just thank all of our speakers again. We really appreciate you being here and taking the time out to give these very informative presentations. So this session will be on YouTube if you ever want to revisit, and feel free to reach out to all of our speakers with their emails if you have any questions that pop up later on. And yeah, we have our link tree here for the Comp Student Council if you want to check out our upcoming sessions. Okay. Awesome. Thank you again to all of our speakers, and thank you for coming to this session, guys. Have a good one.
Thank you, Elena.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.